What is going on, everyone? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics. Got an interesting video here today. I thought this one was pretty funny because if you follow Reddit or different Facebook groups, all that kind of stuff, you will regularly see posts where people will post sales images or sales questions about books where somebody's got some crazy high asking price on something, and it's just basically to try to just get people to agree with them that the price is just insane for this book. And so when I saw this one, and it was on CGC Comics Fans, and it was $8.50 for a 0.5, the 4 question marks after it, and I was like, that sounds about right. And the interesting thing was when you went into the comment section, pretty much people agreed with it. It's like, seems like that's about the price for the 0.5. Definitely FMV range. Based on analytics, it's actually lower than fair market value. And so, I mean, people actually agreeing that an $850 price point for a 0.5 of Incredible Hulk number 181, first full appearance of Wolverine, the book that everybody wants. I know everybody likes to talk about 180, but nobody really wants 180. They want 181 because it's the cool cover, right? Comics are a visual medium. The cover really does matter. And so I thought it would be interesting to talk about other Bronze Age books. Maybe we'll delve into some Silver Age, but generally other Bronze Age books that are the big keys for that era and what their prices are at a 0.5. Like, what is that bare minimum price that you can get that book for? Now, they might not be complete. Usually a 0.5 is incomplete. I mean, sometimes you can get a complete copy with a 0.5. It's really rough, but usually it is an incomplete book, whether it's an interior page, back cover's missing, front cover's missing, something like that. But hey, let's start getting into this. And we'll start with the Hulk 181, just, to see what people are talking about there. And if we jump over to GPA, and I've got Go Collect up here as well, so that we can look at some pictures of some of the books that have sold in that grade. And you can see here, like, incomplete, 90-day average $961 for 3 sales. Last sale $900. 12-month average $955. 2024 average $1,058. Here's one that was missing page 1 and 10. And so that went for $767, maybe a little lower. I actually did look up the cert number for this book, and this one is actually missing the centerfold, and it's missing the Marvel value stamp. So it's a little closer to this one here, that's missing the centerfold and page 1 and 10. But I mean, honestly, like, $850 seems kind of on the mark. It seems like that's about what that book should really be going for. But let's start talking about some of the other big Bronze Age books. So first one we're going to talk about is Giant Size X-Men number 1. I would say that's, I don't know, is that the second biggest? I mean, I know there's some of the price variants, like Star Wars number 1 and 35-cent price variant, that kind of stuff. We're just going to talk about kind of the standard books, not the variants. So Giant Size X-Men 1 is probably the second one I would really think of when you're talking about a Bronze Age big key that is going to have a lot of value, probably the second most value behind Hulk 181. And so let's scroll down and take a look at a 0.5 to see what the 0.5s are going for. You can see here, like, 0.5 not selling quite as often. 1.0, 766, 1 year average, 8 sold for 460. Let's jump over to GPA. Let's see if maybe there's any other sales that might have been pulled in here. So Giant Size X-Men number 1. I mean, the Hulk 181, it's a little more common to have that 0.5 just because people will rip out the full page, or did rip out the full page for the Marvel value stamp that was in it. But let's check here. Let's see if there's any other 0.5s. So front cover missing. I mean, that is technically a 0.5. You can get a 0.5 with just the back cover. But that's going to be a big knockdown on the price. But here we go. We had a 0.5 in July, sell for $459. And so the 90-day average, $459, 12-month average, $44. So it seems like about $450 for a 0.5 Giant Size X-Men 1. And here, this is one of the things I talk about that I like about Go Collect, so I can see the pictures right away. So you can see, what the visual appeal of that book is. Because when you start talking about the lower grade books, the 0.5s, the 1s, the 2s, that kind of thing, the visual appeal can make or break that book, because you can have some very nice presenting low grade books, but this one missing a piece out of the front cover, but really not too bad. This one, it's pretty rough, pretty rough, but went for $5.65. This was a best offer, you can see here, so it probably didn't sell for $8.50, I'm guessing. Go Collect did say that they are now getting those prices correctly, but this one is older than that. This is back into May. Here's that one that's this is missing a bunch of the front cover, $4.78 though. $2.34 missing basically the entire front cover. There's a little remnant, of it there, but I mean, that's that $234 sale. But still, I mean, you can see here, like, still a lot of money. I mean, so that means this book raw, I mean, even in 0.5, like if it's even really beat up, it's still going to be like a $400 to $500 book. All right. What's the next book? What's the next book that's going to show up here? I'll say, we'll jump over to DC. House of Secrets, number 92. First appearance of Swamp Thing. I mean, that's a really in-demand book. Much lower census in general than the Marvel books. I wonder how many 0.5s have actually sold to this book. Not many. only 4 sales ever here on Go Collect. Last sale was in 2023 for $5.50. That's like a comic boom period, so it's probably a little lower now. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe it's a little closer to $2.50. But let's see what are some of the other. We'll just get back to the other prices. So for the low grade books, see if there's anything more recent. Because we've got a 2.0 that went for $4.55. 1.0, $3.93. So it might still be like $300, but I'd say $250 to $300 for 0.5. Jump over to GPA again, see if there's maybe any other sales that might have been pulled in here for a 0.5. Secrets number 92. And let's see if there's any other 0.5 sales. Incomplete back cover missing. That's the August 2023. Yeah, so we really don't have anything. So I'm guessing $250 to $300 for a 0.5 incomplete copy of House of Secrets. Let's see how these ones looked. I mean, that's a pretty solid looking copy. Let's see what the deal was with this one. Back cover missing. So that you're going to get a guaranteed 0.5 with that, but pretty solid presenting copy if you just want to have a copy for yourself of that one. Here's probably that same 0.5. Looks like maybe back cover's also missing. Yeah, it's probably the same book. Yeah, same cert number. There's this one, third wrap, not a good picture. I mean, these are some pretty decent looking 0.5s of that book, but I mean, such a cool cover. Love the cover for House of Secrets 92. All right. So what's the next book here? Next book that we'll talk about. How about Marvel Spotlight number 5? So first appearance of Ghost Rider. So Marvel Spotlight number 5. What do you think? What do you think, Marvel Spotlight number 5? Man, why isn't that one? Did I type it in? Oh, I did. Typed it in wrong. What do you think about Marvel Spotlight number 5? What do you think that 0.5 this book is going to go for? Awesome cover. First appearance of Ghost Rider. Let's go down to the 0.5s. You actually have one in the last year, sold for $310. So let's see here. Let's see how that one looked. 2024. Man, and that's missing a huge piece. That's like almost a remainder copy. The front cover. Here was a best offer 0.5. Looks pretty decent. 178 again. And this is that same book, or maybe not. I don't know. Is it? I don't know. Might be. No, it's not. It's not even the same one. Yeah, it's a different copy that ripped off that top piece there. Here's another one that is a lot of water damage, it looks like. So this is an example of one where you can see here, there's no note on here for missing pieces. So this is a 0.5 that's complete, but really, really rough. So you can get that. And here's another 0.5. This one looks like it's got some note here that's missing something. It's a little tough to make it out. Let's see if they've got a close-up. 4 extra staples added in manufacturing, or after manufacturing, spine of cover completely split. So here's another one, 0.5 that is complete. I mean, I feel like that's a little rough. I'd probably given that at least a 1. You know, I feel like if it's a complete book, got the front and back cover, just the spine that split, I think a 0.5. I don't know. Seems a little harsh to me. Seems like this book maybe like $250, even for a 0.5. Let's jump over to GPA again. Let's just see. So Marvel Spotlight number 5. We'll see what if there's maybe any other sales that might have gotten pulled in somewhere for this one. So incomplete 310. I mean, yeah, $300 seems like about the price. Here's a 1.5 that went for 300. You are going to get a lot of range, down in these lower grades. But yeah, 250 to $300 for Marvel Spotlight number 5, like bare minimum price for that first appearance of Ghost Rider. All right, let's see. Let's see how Moon Knight's doing now. I bet this one's dropped quite a bit. So we're going to look at Werewolf by Night, number 32, first appearance of Moon Knight. This book was super pumped up during the comic boom period with the Disney Plus show and all of that, and it has really, really fallen off. So, I mean, the 0.5 hasn't even been a sale in the last year. So let's see here. Last sale was in June of 2024. It's got the little alert thing because it's a best offer. I think that's usually all that means. Yeah, identified as best offer accepted, so they don't have the actual sale price. So something below 300, something below 300. Same book? Nope, not the same book. Something below 300. This looks like this is the same. So maybe, yeah, it is. Certain numbers the same. So maybe somebody returned it or something like that. 450, 330, 500, 900. I mean, here you can see like 900 comic boom prices for a 0.5. But let's take a look at what the other grades, the other lower grades are going for. So we've got a 1.8 for 330, 1.5, 255. I mean, so probably around $200 to $250. I mean, if you can get a 1.5 for 255, you probably want to try to get below that. But yeah, about $200 for Werewolf by Night, number 32, first appearance of Moon Knight. Still pretty pricey book down in that 0.5 grade. Right. Check out Punisher, Amazing Spider-Man 129. This is probably going to be a pretty pricey one. This might be number 3. I wouldn't be surprised if this is number 3 behind Hulk 181, Giant Size X-Men 1, then Amazing Spider-Man 129 for the Bronze Age big keys. Like what's going to be the most expensive 0.5s that have sold. And so let's see here. So we actually have had multiples. I have seen a lot of these that have sold that are like missing parts of the cover or the entire front cover. And so you're going to have, again, like 153 because it's missing the whole front cover. And this one, 286. Like, see if there's one that has like a complete front cover. I mean, so complete front cover, I mean, still getting like $500. It's probably missing. Let's see what it's missing on the inside. 1/2 of page 10 missing does not affect story. So missing a big piece of an interior page, but actually has the full front cover and going for quite a bit more. Now, granted, that's a year ago. It's probably lower now, but still, I mean, Giant Size or Amazing Spider-Man 129, I'd say like because these ones, like these more recent sales are missing like either the entire front cover or a huge part of it, I think you're going to get quite a bit more than that if you actually have that front cover. I think it's a $500 book. I mean, let's check out GPA. Using Spider-Man 129. Yeah, I think this book in a 0.5, as long as it's got that full front cover. And if I'm buying a 0.5, that's what I want. And I'm going to want that full front cover of that book. But I mean, yeah, it seems like it's probably, I mean, a 1.0, 550, 1.8, 505, 474. So this is one of those things, like you've always got to remember that I talk about this quite a bit. You get that price compression in certain grades, and especially down in, grades like this. And so if you're patient, you try to get something that's a little bit higher up for the same money. So if you could get a 1.8 for 450 or a 0.5 for 400 or 500 or something, like obviously you want the 1.8, right? And so, yeah, if you're a little patient, you might be able to get a little more for your money on that. I mean, here, even a 2.5, 531. So you can see here, just that with that, like a 2.0 went for 676, then a 2.5 went for 531. It's 785 in June for a 2.0. So that's just one of those things where you can get some definite, big variation in price. But I think a 0.5, if you do it fixed price and you kind of, just wait for the right buyer, I think you could get $500 out of that book, given what, we're seeing for some of these that are missing big pieces of the front cover. So yeah, expensive books still, even, for the 0.5. So let's see, let's take a look at it. Just a couple, a couple other books here. We'll jump back to DC. We haven't done too much DC. how about Batman number 227? I mean, it's kind of a toss up between 227, 251, 232, all like great Neil Adams covers, all have a lot of demand and are still going to, even at the, the low grade, people are going to want them just because it's a cool cover. But no sales, only, let's see, no sales for 227. So nothing to do. We can't do anything with 227. So let's look at 251. See if there's any 0.5s for this, the classic Joker cover. So 0.5, no sales for the 0.5 of that one either. So sorry, no love for the DC 0.5s. Just maybe, I mean, because you can see here like 2.5, 200, 20, 200. I bet a 0.5 would still be like $100 to $150 book, somewhere in that, in that range. Now, you might not want to pay that. I'd probably try to get it under $100. But I could see it. I can see it happening. All right, we'll close out with one more book. What we do, Tomb of Dracula number 10. So first appearance of Blade. I mean, there's a lot of cool Bronze Age books. I mean, it's a fun era to collect. A lot of great first appearances, a lot of really cool covers. So Tomb of Dracula number 10, first appearance of Blade. Let's see what the 0.5s are doing. So not a ton of sales down in the 0.5. Over a year ago for the last one, 250 best offer, 0.5, 252, $61. Someone got that one. $61 at auction for that 0.5. Then this one missing part of the front cover, for 300 best offer and 459. This is back in the comic boom era. So let's see what like a 1.0, maybe a 1.0 or 1.5 is going for. So 290 for a 1.0 within the last year. 3.0 at 350 more recently, because this book has been dropping. So this is one of those books that you're going to want a little bit more recent prices because of the trend that this book has been on, just because when we know the movies affect the prices, and just we have no idea what's going on with Blade with the MCU. So, I mean, I would bet about $200 for a 0.5. I would not be surprised if it was somewhere around 200, maybe like 175 to 200 for a 0.5. Let's just check GPA. We'll just see. We'll see if there's anything else over there. Probably not, though. There's just not a ton of these that are going to be graded. So Tomb of Dracula number 10. So 1973. So yeah, it's not going to be a ton of these ones that are graded. So they're just not going to have a lot of sales. So 0.5, yeah, 200. There we go. A year ago, there's a Mark Jewelers 255, 290 for a 1.0. I mean, yeah, I think 175, maybe 200 for a 0.5 of Tomb of Dracula number 10. So I just think that these are a lot of fun to talk about, because a lot of times you'll be on different platforms like Reddit or Facebook and that kind of thing. And you get people that are just, shocked by how much some of these like beat up keys actually sell for. And yeah, it's just, those are the prices now. And so even if it's an incomplete book, a really rough book, just remember that if it's one of these big keys from that era, there's still a pretty significant amount of value in it. Definitely the big one is Hulk 181. But I'd say, yeah, the top three from what we saw, Hulk 181, Giant Size X-Men 1, and then Amazing Spider-Man 129. So no big surprise. First full Wolverine, first new X-Men, first Punisher. I mean, three huge marquee characters still around today. But do you have these books? Do you have these books in lower grade? Would you be happy with just having a copy in the lower grade? Do you try to get something that's a little higher? Like, what's your minimum grade point that you are willing to get for one of these big Bronze Age keys? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you on the next one.